What's going on, everybody? It's Frontz. We're here with more Ace Attorneys, Mild Edgeworth Investigations, however you want to say the name. Let's get into this right now. We are in the middle of a murder scene in the prosecutor's office. Let's get started. March 14th, 4:18 a.m. Prosecutor's building, 12th floor hallway. What about that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. So unbelievable. Please maintain your professionalism, detective. I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocent. You'll see, sir. But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir. True. So then, now what? Looks like we're like falling into yet another gigantic ditch. Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway. Really, sir? For example, this hallway. This linchpin of this argument against Miss Bird is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door. Alright, we are going to do that. Alright. Okay, there's nothing else you can do here, so let me examine that. Oh, I see something. I won't rest until I inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Oh, that's kind of like just sitting right there for some reason. It's... Is that the isn't this what missing 105, sir? No doubt about it. The bloody letter mark is clear as day. There seems to be a few pages missing. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind. So, what are these 0 files about, sir? I guess they're gonna have something to do with stealing in them, huh? Nothing particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the case within these files are not mine. Huh? They belong to the high prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were. Then that means that the thief must have already also wanted the files for a specific reason, right? I would say so. It would so seem. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing. I wonder what anyone would care about such an old case. What else would he be there? Alright. I'm gonna talk to Maggie here. And also, it doesn't seem like there's anything else there, so let's talk to Maggie. It was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning this case. I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth. I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory, showing my notes of her through the present button. We'll go with the victim. Have you ever met the victim before? Well, I've seen him a couple times before when I had to go to Mr. Portsman's office. Mr. Faith was always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir. That sounds like fun. Just once. I would love to play with them. It sounds fun, but only person ever taken a shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Faith ever did was pass the ball, sir. Oh, on second thought, I don't think I'd fit in on all that with them. Miss Maggie Bird, correct? I take it that you are an acquaintance of the detective. She's under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. One day, she got caught up in a murder and things started going downhill, so she quit. But I owe a lot of Detective Gunshoes for introducing me to my current employer. Or so I thought until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night. You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct? Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. Since I was only 6 months old when I fell off from the ninth floor of my apartment building. My goodness. I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed almost every test I've taken, experienced almost all kinds of disasters, and now I've managed to get my name the criminal just when I became a security guard. That's a lot to go through in one lifetime. I know, and just when I thought I had finally found my happiness, I wound up getting you and Detective Gumshoes involved in my bad luck. You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bird, nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation. Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth. You can count on me. I'll do all I can now. That's all you do. Oh, shoot. I gotta do that too, don't I? I just thought about that. Master key. Where's the key at? Where's the key? Oh, it's right here. So, when did you discover that the master key was missing? By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 AM, sir. And now I noticed it was back around 2:30 AM. I was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room reception window is. But I'm sure that was between the 2 times that I was not just gone but stolen, sir. Why would you, like... Oh my goodness. Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place? It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room away from the window. Always, you say? Except for this time, correct? Well, I admit that it was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. This controller is really starting to get on my last nerves. I left it out because I was sort of using it on alt at the time. It was after I used it and left it sitting on the ledge. You used the master key? Oh my goodness. Oh, that's the next thing you have to ask, of course. What do you mean by use the master key? Oh, I had to use it to open the door for this prosecutor who had forgotten his key. Nice. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? Ah. What is it? That's right, I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key. It was Mr. Portsmouth, sir. What? Please tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly. It's around 12 AM. Mr. Portsmouth had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir. Oh, that's when you loaned the master key to him? No way, it's against regulation to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portsmouth to the office and opened the door for him personally, sir. I see. And then what happened? After that? Well, he called for me to come close up the office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 AM, I think. So, in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. Talk about suspicious. I doubt you can say that you never left your key at home, Detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsmouth's door. And that is all of that, right? Let's see if we throw some logic into this, because something seems like we could do something with that. Let's see here. Master key was stolen. And use the master key. Not do anything for me. Miss Bird, I am afraid there's a flaw in your story. What? No way, pal. I mean, sir. You said that you locked up Mr. Portman's office at 1:30 AM, correct? However, the master key had already been stolen by that time. Wow! Nothing gets past you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw a contradiction like a pro. I totally forgot all about that, but thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right. It was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing. And? Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I could just admit to losing the master key, could I? I couldn't. So, I pretended to lock up his room, sir. You pretended? Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir. So in actuality, you never... I'm sorry. So in actuality, you never did relock the door then. Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. Okay. Well, why is there a basketball sitting right there? This would be his office, right? It won't reset until I have injected every suspicious nook and cranny. I'll rest until I expect every suspicious... Yeah, we already know that. Obviously, we're going to check the key. I think the key is right there, right? The door is locked tight. Hey, I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, Mr. Edgeworth. This is the office of a high prosecutor detective. These doors would be pretty unaffected if the average cat burglar could get through them. Aha! So I guess the only great cat burglar could ever get in. That must be who the culprit is. Might I advise you return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you brought it from. I love that line so much. That was so cool. Let me think. Maybe with the deuce? This spot somehow connected to any of my evidence I hold. Oh. I keep hitting that for some reason. Eureka! There's a contradiction here between reality and the evidence. If what Miss Bird has said is true, then why is the door locked tight? You know, you're right. Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door? I'm certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Postman noticed it himself that I hadn't. Which means, what, sir? It either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. She opened a different door, but how can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is, we need to examine these. Ooh, we're going to go with, we go prints the number on the plate, prints on the doorknob, prints on the master key. I would go with the doorknob, wouldn't I? Prints on the doorknob, wouldn't I? The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything. Hey, you. Yeah, you, pal. Do us all a favor and see what kind, if you can lift one from this, okay? So, what did you find out? There's no need for such belligerent nostril flaring, detective. Sir, I have found only portrait screen and misspaced prints on this doorknob. So, only 2 people's prints were found on this door, huh? That's pretty decisive. Huh? I'm lost, sir. Thinking logically, and certain other person's prints should be on the knob as well. Now then, whose print should also be on the doorknob? Maggie's. Don't you find it odd that the prints on the person who unlocked this door are absent? You mean? Yes, the door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one. I mean, yeah. Makes the most sense, don't you think? What do we have here? Okay, we know. When I see something that is hanging out of the door... What is this? Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. I bought you 3 pieces of evidence by just like you talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out of gas. I'll catch up later, buddy. It looks like a note from the victim. Yeah, and it's for Mr. Postman. Nothing else here, I don't think. No. Okay. What is this? What are you looking at, sir? Hey, how about a game? That's okay, detective. I just found position of the hoop to be a little off. Hey, you're right, sir. I guess if you shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk. That positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. It better take note of this. Okay. Is that basket? Do you want to examine the basketball too? I don't think you would actually do that. Should check my doorknob, obviously. I mean, why wouldn't you? I don't see any signs of forced entry. And according to the guard, no signs that lock was picked either, sir. Meaning that the door was opened with a key. Didn't you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently the doorknob's clean as a whistle, sir. Wipe they think. Whoever the thief is, they did a good job in not leaving any clues behind. Yay, investigation is complete. Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. Huh? How so, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic's sound, and yes, the mastermind behind the murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. What? Mr. Portsman? I knew it. That's exactly what my logic sense was telling me too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir. That is anything but logical. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it is time to knock on the truth's door. Got you, boy. March 15th, 5:12 a.m., High Prosecution Office, room 1202. Mr. Portsman, I have finished processing the bloody letters, sir. Alright, let's take a gander and pass it here. Okay, looking good, you two. There, take care of this. Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoes. End of the line for you, Portsman. We've got you now. Call off your dogs, Mr. Edgeworth. Is it some kind of joke? It is no joke. We know, Mr. Joaquez Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you could stay if you promise to stay out of our way. You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job. I can see right through your unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cow. Ha ha ha! Who'd have ever thought it would have come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Really teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know. Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because that won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Well, aren't you fooling ourselves? Even though you have yet to prove anything. Here we go. I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there is a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how many asks do I propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so you're done here. Time to sink this ship. Sorry, but you are not finished yet. We are not finished yet. Boy, you are stubborn. I suppose you basing your accusation on something. I'll show him what I'm basing my accusations on with evidence. Nothing there. Let's go. I mean, obviously the point is to go here and go Present the key. Jackson! Oh. I believe you were able to open my office with the master key, no less. Wait, hold on for a second. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely, you were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right, you used your finger to direct the person to the door. Got you, boy. Got your ass. You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often, for my taste, you know. But the room you and Miss Bird opened at the time was not your own, was it? What? What? You're quite the imagination. But why don't you task a girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? It's certain that it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate and made sure it was opening the door, sir. See, Miss Bird backs up my story. Yet, what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? Ah, and do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on your door, for example. That's right. They slide up pretty easily. Furthermore, then you used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That door she was opening was yours and not in fact mine. What was it Miss Plum used to make that? What was it? I mean, what else do you use the basketball hoop for? What? The basketball hoop, sir? It's quite peculiar fixture in the hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. Ah! That's very true, sir, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's. There are signs that the hoop may have been moved. To sit in front of my office, to be sure. I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people, thanks to the tip. But I think your conjecture is a little off on the racetrack. Dude just will not give it up. Now you're going to spawning nonsense. I had to go open my office door. After that, I was in my room for the entire time. The door... You don't have a single reason to suspect me. Really? So he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he? I am pure innocence as my jacket. And Miss Bird is as dirty and as guilty as the jacket she wears. My jacket's not dirty! I have you know, I just washed it yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show you who is the real truly covered on slime here. Nonsense. Nonsense. Boy, you gotta try harder. That was a lie. What are you talking about? How was that a lie? This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you, and what were you doing? Ah! Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open the door open for you. That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me. Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence. No way! This is proof positive that you had Miss Bird open my door. I believe this is the right one, right? Yeah. I have your door dusted for prints. My door? Ha! What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You're sure good at wasting time. You're right, I didn't find anything, and definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Her prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it to you this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Further, all the prints on the office doorknob have been wiped clean. My doorknob. I can only assume that it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. And Detective Faith found you out. It's possible because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And then I had the misfortunate to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said, you had the gun on my back. And no one gets away with committing murder in my office. And just what's so funny, pal? Well, that looks so stiff and serious on your face of this office finds prosecutor. As he makes a huge mistake in accusing me of simply too much of a bear. That's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. And just as I said earlier, it's all just circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints. Well, I can severely confess that I wiped that doorknob down as well. Eh? I'm a little observant of obsessive compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched. Which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim and my prints would be there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as a note Jim left on me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at my office. Like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? I mean, come on, dude, seriously. Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied with my work-related matters, although that's no excuse. Now, just wait that's a flat-out lie. No, there's no way you didn't notice a note that size. Ah, but you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir. Portsman's make a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an alright alibi. Alright, you say? I only realized I just had one just now as you were talking. I guess I would have been better for all of us if you had been told sooner. Here comes the lie. And memory serves me, came back to my office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had some competition at gunpoint with your culprit. But at the exact same time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's a perfect alibi. Dude, that is such a weak alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Dude, you're like actually reaching. They got to come shoot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can go check the alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir? I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him around 2 a.m. You see? All the evidence points to him being the culprit. Though there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. You're correct. It is around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me to know the spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch then, and makes no mistake, it was 2. Okay, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so it came back to after about 2. Impressing this stuff. Is it as you say, however? Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? What was it? Was it me who you saw? I was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see. Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. So you were paid Criminal Affairs Department of Visits. Yep, right after I left the prosecutor building, I headed straight for the precinct. Well, we did go ask around to confirm your testimony. And it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you around that time. See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I have at my sleeve. Ugh. Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you just say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think you've reached the end of your line and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there! Sir, please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle. Maddie! Detective Gumshoes! Oh boy. Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help? Me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time with logic. I mean, alibi and handgun. I mean, there's got to be something about this handgun. That's the only reason he probably went down there, was to hide the handgun, right? The files doesn't seem like it could be anything worth anything, because, I don't know, that just seems like something we don't have to worry about. I'm going to connect these two. There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows sign of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up his sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person. Which could mean that there is another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Well, I guess the only thing to do... Ah, shoot. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shells were appended twice. We know that the shells were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that this was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by the second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we're supposed to suppose that the second culprit gun was the one that was pointed at my back, Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumption regarding this case. Great, so you've finally come to your senses. Mr. Edgeworth? Sir, what are you going to say? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just an average thief. A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? No, at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And that means that the actual two culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean by that mean too? I'll explain both why my shelves were disturbed twice and here why there were two guns. Miss Portsman Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office. How are you now? You're leading the argument? Just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know? If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Ugh. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman, so was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? But why did Mr. Faith come in the room, sir? He's probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed someone's coming from my office, would be my guess. Oh, because that's where you were supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd, so he came in the office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there, because it was Mr. Portsman. Mr. Faith probably let his guard down, but Mr. Portsman was not just merciful as to let him leave alive. Gotta drink something, man. This voiceover stuff is not easy. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then, bang. He killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. Logic. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, then that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had left the fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that. Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would have been solved, however. There was yet another visitor to my room, and that was where things get complicated. There was another? Visitor, yes, sir. Yes, and this other person's objective was to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. That was when the second time they were disturbed, and the scene the thief found their prize. They stole the 0 files, right, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave the files, I appeared. That thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired then during that brief encounter. So, that being self getting messed up twice there, and the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times. Precisely. So now, do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met just as the thief was not, in fact, you. in fact, Mr. Faith's killer? Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit. Ha 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 ha! What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth after all. Do you know that still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial? Dude, you're caught. Just give it up. Supposing, if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would be indeed render my alibi, which had withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. You're supposing that I was the first visitor. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let them get away with this, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I found your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If this person you met really was a plain old thief, then why is it the person not your main suspect, that is, if your theory is correct? The gun, dude! Oh, dude, so... Oh, my goodness. I'm going to leave this off right here for the next episode. I don't know how long that's going to go, but we are going to be done here for now. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.